Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with a bit of pop chat. I hope you're all well this Remembrance weekend. So thank you for your service, anybody who has served, and I think it doesn't do any harm to obviously thank those who have served and unfortunately no longer with us. I do have family in this services, so just very important for me to say that, and very important that we don't forget. And I've got my I've got my poppy bracelet on. I don't know if you can see that yet, and my actual poppy's on my coat, but I do have my my remembrance bits and pieces before anybody says you're not wearing a poppy. Cool. So anyway, so I wanted to just jump on and do a sort of quick thoughts, light review, light spoilers of the new Vince Gilligan show on Apple TV, Pluribus. I think most people know Vince Gilligan from Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. He has written on the X-Files back in the day, so very experienced writer. Obviously quite a different tone or a style of show that this appears to be. The first 2 episodes have dropped, and interesting. I think that's all I can really say at this point. Great premise. Definitely makes you think. Not many shows do, so very, very refreshing. So for anybody that doesn't know, the show starts with we introduce the character Carol, who's an author of sort of trashy romantic novels series, and you kind of get the impression quite quickly she's not massively happy with her life, but she's doing all right, she's doing okay. And the very opening of the show is all about they're like, I think, SETI, and they're picking up this signal from space, and there's and gradually more and more people are brought in to try and understand or analyze what this signal is. And obviously, is it extraterrestrial? Initially they think it's something just bouncing off the moon from the Earth, or bouncing off satellites and coming back, but then over time they realize that there's definitely something in it. And sort of a course like a year and a half, they kind of figure out that this code makes up these chemicals, and they're basically in a lab and they're trying to synthesize whatever this thing is in this message. As it is saying on the screen, guys, there are spoilers here, but this is the kind of setup of the show, and you would have got the gist from the trailers, which were a bit, they weren't the best of explaining what the hell this show's about. But then they're in the lab and something goes wrong, and one person gets bitten by a rat that's had this thing tested on them, as they can't figure out what it does. There doesn't seem to be anything happening to the rats, or nothing of any consequence. And this rat is found in its box, and it looks like it's dead or rigor mortis or something. So they try and get it out, and it ends up waking up and then biting the scientist. And then there's a whole sequence of events from there, and it kind of spreads this virus around the world very, very quickly. But as this thing gets transmitted, they kind of go into a seizure state, or some sort of they completely black out. So when this thing happens, it's caused people to crash their cars, and obviously planes to crash. It's because it completely knocks them out. And Carol, who we were introduced to, she's out having a couple of drinks with her sort of best friend / editor manager person, and she collapses. And then Carol tries to get help, but then finds everybody in this same state. And then she manages to get her friend to hospital, but unfortunately her friend passes away. Then everybody just starts acting like pod people. Everybody's talking at the same time. They know Carol's name. And obviously Carol's freaking out. So she kind of takes her friend's body, drives to her house, gets inside, puts on the TV, and then you've kind of got a politician who's talking directly to Carol and says phone this number, and they start having a conversation, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, if this, this must be difficult for you. You must be scared. We don't want to hurt you." And it's everything's we. And she's like, "Oh, who's we?" And he tries to explain about this code and where it came from. And now everybody on the planet is sort of psychically or mentally linked, like a hive mind. So they know Carol's name because anybody that knew Carol has those thoughts and memories, like everybody knows it. So not understandably, Carol is like freaked out. She's drinking heavily. So they send a person to be her companion, almost to help her with this transition. They explain that her and a handful of other people around the world are immune at the moment to this virus, but they're going to try and figure out how to bring them into the fold, shall we say. But in the meantime, all they want to do is keep her happy and calm. It transpires that they're complete pacifists. They can't hurt anybody. Therefore they're like sort of vegetarian because they can't even kill animals for food, etc. And there's a scene where Carol's trying to bury her friend in the garden, and she's like, so she's been drinking heavily. She's still freaked out. I mean, clearly she's kind of in shock with all of this, and she loses her temper to this girl that they've sent, or woman I should say, they've sent to help support her through this. And she starts yelling at her and basically tells her to F off. And then she goes into one of these sort of seizures again and collapses. So Carol drives off to try and get her some help. And then she realizes that they're all seizing. They're all having this episode. So then when she comes back, they've kind of come out of this state again. And Carol was like, "Did I cause that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we can't cope with like high amounts of negative aggression, negative emotions. They can't tolerate it." And she's like, did anybody get hurt? And she's like, "Some." And she's like, "Oh, some." And she's like, "So is it double digit, hundreds, thousands?" And she just said like quite a few. So Carol feels really bad. She now knows that she kind of needs to keep herself in check. And then Carol asks, like, "So these other people in the world, do any of them speak English? Can we meet up?" And they agree that they can get together. So, but for some reason, Carol's like, she only wants the ones that speak English. She doesn't, because she's like, "Oh, we can find translators, we could do this." She goes, "No, I don't want anybody there who's one of you," basically. So these sort of five people or six people meet up. One is like an Indian guy. He turns up on Air Force One because he's kind of realized that they're like, "Well, we just want to keep you happy." So pretty much anything he asks for, he's getting. So he flies in on Air Force One. He's got his bevy of beauties with him. They're running around pampering to his every need. What for food he wants. They're mixing his martinis for him. He's like, living the life of Riley. Basically, he's like, this is quite a good thing. Doesn't appear to have anybody. He's quite happy. And they introduce some other characters, all like from different parts of the world, and they all have sort of family members and children and things like that who are now obviously in this sort of virus state. And again, Carol doesn't seem to have anybody from what we could see. Her closest friend and was her manager, who's now dead. So Carol basically says like, what are we going to do about all of this? And they're about to do about what, So I'm not going to go into more detail. That's pretty much kind of, the sort of synopsis of what's going on. I don't want to give it all away. I want you to go watch this show. It's massively intriguing. So this whole like, what are we going to do about it? And then there's conversations, and it's very like if you're in that situation now, would you milk it like this other guy and say, "Hey, look, I can live like a king while they're figuring this stuff out, and if I get a choice whether to be subjected to it or not." Carol's obviously but you guys are all like pod people. You can't think for yourselves. You just want to make me happy, but at the detriment to yourself. That's not okay. So it's posing lots of moral questions. And are your family still really your family if they've got the collective consciousness of the world in their head? So kind of things you're sitting there thinking like, well, how on earth does this work? And what would that mean? And they're already posing those kind of moral questions, which is great. I am literally sitting here, they're going 2 episodes in. I have no idea where this show is going to go. I don't know how long it could last. I do have the faith and the confidence that Vince Gilligan knows where it's going. He very much had a roadmap for when he done Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He knew where he wanted those stories to end up. So I have got more confidence than I have normally in these shows. We're clearly making it up as they go along. But I say it's massively intriguing. You really I would recommend sort of watching them together back to back. It does very much have that slow burn pacing that's very Vince Gilligan. I think more so in Better Call Saul than Breaking Bad, but Breaking Bad kind of had its moments where it's very slow burn. Doesn't mean it's not entertaining. So I'm really intrigued, enjoying it. The casting's good. The acting is absolutely solid. Is it Rhea Seehorn, who was also in Better Call Saul? She does a really good job in this as like someone who maybe wasn't, the most happy and stable of people before this happened. She's now absolutely spiraling and just a bit of a dick in episode 2, to be fair. So interesting to see where her character's going to go and how she plays off against the other character who's living his life with Riley right now. Be really, really interesting to see. But so far, I'm bought in. I'm on board. I'm really intrigued to see where this goes. Because right now, I cannot call it. I cannot say, I think, because it's not like it's more anybody sort of bit like, I don't really like sci-fi. I wouldn't put it in sci-fi at all, other than the concept of this sort of virus coming from space. Right now, it's much more like a thriller or a drama. That very Vince Gilligan style of writing, where it's he mixes the sort of black humor with drama, with very, very well. So you kind of you constantly got that kind of sort of lightheartedness, but then it can be very, very serious and then quite funny again, and very, very much in that style. So I think based on the 2 episodes I've seen, if you like his other shows, you will probably get into this. Don't be put off going, I'm not really into sci-fi, because for me it really didn't feel like that, other than there's this sort of concept that this formula came from space. It might get more sci-fi, don't know. Like I say, I really cannot call it. I haven't got a clue where this show is going to go, which is great. So definitely a recommend for me right now. It's got the potential to be the best show of the year, but we're on episode 2. I think there's 9 episodes. There's a long way to go. But just going sort of off his pedigree, I'm really hoping this goes somewhere that we just don't see coming. But I'd say the first 2 episodes, very, very solid. Go check them out. It's on Apple TV. So his first 2 episodes drop together, and then most Apple shows then go weekly. So love to know what you think. Have you seen it? Are you planning on checking it out? Do you like Vince Gilligan's other works? So as always, do leave me your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know what you're thinking on this one, and please do like, share and subscribe. As I say, it just gets harder and harder on YouTube to get your channel out there. So anything you guys can do to help, most appreciative. So that's it for Pluribus. I think that's how you pronounce it. And Pluribus is Latin for many. Yes, who knew? And that title will make complete sense when you watch it. So, as I said, do leave me your thoughts. Love to know what you think. And I'll be back soon with some more reviews. You take care now. Bye-bye.